Good afternoon. Welcome to the Hayden Urban Renewal Agency Board Meeting. My name is Rhonda Mitchell. I am your chair. Let's see, first order, can we have a roll call, please?
Rhonda Mitchell.
Here.
Steve Meyer.
Here.
Colin Meehan.
Here.
Randy McIntyre.
Here.
Michael Thayer. Matt Roeder.
Here.
Joy Richards.
Here. Great. Let's all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve, you want to lead us in the pledge today?
Me?
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Try to give everybody a chance.
Thank you.
All right. Let's take a look. Any additions or corrections to our agenda for today? How about any conflicts of interest? Hearing none. Do we have any visitors or public comments? I see none. Let's take a look at the consent calendar. Are there any questions regarding the consent calendar discussion? Hearing no questions, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. As
Second.
presented.
It's been first and seconded. Any additional questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call vote? For approval?
Rhonda Mitchell.
Yes?
Steve Meyer.
Yes.
Colin Meehan.
Yes.
Randy McIntyre.
Yes.
Matt Roeder.
Yes.
Joy Richards.
Yes.
Great. New business. We have our 2023 audit presentation by Alpine Summit CPA. And I believe they're going to be on video for us today.
Yeah, so Tony, can you hear us, and do you need to share your screen? I've made you a
I
presenter.
can hear you. I'm trying to turn on my camera, but it's not allowing me. So go to needs to access, click to view camera settings, and it's not doing it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to let you see. Can you hear me?
We
Yes.
can hear
Yep.
you. So I made you
Okay.
the presenter. I wonder, do you have anything to show like on a screen?
I do not. I believe everybody has a copy of the draft financial statement.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have anything that needs to be put up on a screen.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good.
I was going to let you see me, but I am having problems turning on the camera.
No
So,
worries.
Okay. I don't know if I can figure
I won't
that
waste your time trying to do that.
So hard.
Okay, so just to introduce myself, I am Tony Hackwith with Alpine Summit CPAs, formerly known as Anderson Brothers CPAs. We changed our name, but not our practice or anything of that sort. So, going to just go over your draft financial statements for your September 30th, 2023 audit. And if you have any questions, just stop me along the way. I won't go over every single page here, but again, if you have questions, let me know. We do issue 2 reports as a result of our audit. One is called the Independent Auditor's Report, and that is our report over your financial statements as a whole, as to whether they are materially correct. And the opinion that we issued, as we always have for your entity, is a clean report, or unmodified they call it too, which is meaning that you can rely on your financial statements, that they are materially safe. The other report that we issue is report internal control over financial reporting and compliance with laws and regulations. And that report that we issued as far as your internal controls over financial accounting is also a clean report or unmodified report. As far as compliance with laws and regulations, we did have to put one item in that report. And your audit report is due to the state of Idaho by June 30th of each year. And since we are over that date, we do have to put that into that report. And that a lot of that has to do with your significant change in accounting personnel. Same with the city of Hayden goes along with that. So going forward, we did not anticipate that being any an issue going forward. So next, I'll go over the financial statements themselves. If you look on pages 4 and 5, these are what's called your full accrual statement. So it shows all of your assets, all of your liabilities, and of the agency at September 30th. So your cash, 5.497 in the bank, and then it shows your capital assets too, your land, and then your building net of accumulated depreciation. Your liabilities, you had accounts payable of about 9,500 at that time period, and then due to other governments, so that was an amount due to the city of Hayden for the Ramsey Road project. So invoices received in October, but the work was actually done in September, so that is accrued onto your financial statement. Page 5 is what the government accounting calls statement activities. This is similar basically to a profit and loss statement. It shows your revenues and your expenses and your net income or net change in position as the governmental statements show. You had $1.064 million in revenues. To note there, your interest income was $233,000 this year, whereas last year it was $13,000. So that was a pretty significant change in the market. That'll change from year to year. Depending on that, your expenses were $849,000. Now those were up a bit. Those were up about $49,000, and the largest contributor to that would be the new contracts that you have for executive director services. So that was the major change in that category. Pages 6 and 7. Now these are what's called your modified accrual basis. And so they just show current resources, current asset resources, current liabilities. They do not show your long-term assets, which are property tax receivables and some prepaid expenses. Your liabilities are the same as the other statements. You've got the accounts payable and due to other governments, which is the city of Hayden. You do have an item on here called deferred inflows of resources. This is revenue that you don't receive until 60 days after your year end, and that's property tax revenue that is still coming in and you don't receive until that time period. Now you have 3 categories of fund balance. So your assets, less your liabilities, and deferred inflows is your fund balance. You have some amounts that are assigned. Non-spendable is just prepaid expenses, which you've already spent, and then unassigned fund balance is that's what's available for spending agency. The reconciliation below that is just showing your assets on the full accrual basis and the differences between that on your fund statements. And you'll see the large cited there, the capital assets, which I discussed. Okay, page 7 is your statement of revenues, expenses, and change in fund balance. So again, profit and loss statement, but does not show depreciation of your capital assets. So your income is $1.074 million. Your expenses were $825,000. Excuse me. So your profit your net change of fund balance or net income is $250,000 on the modified accrual basis. And down below, you'll see the reconciliation of the net income according to the full accrual and the modified accrual. And again, the biggest difference there is that full accrual reports depreciation expense, and a modified accrual on these statements do not show that in their expenses. Any questions so far? Tell you how your cash on those shows you a summary schedule of your capital assets and just a few other footnotes that talk about commitments and contingencies, the assignment of fund balance and such. Any questions there? Okay. So the final schedule that I am going to go over is page 15. And this is your budget to actual financial statement. You had budgeted $955,000 in revenues, and had actual of $1,074,000. Your property tax revenues were a little under than what you had budgeted, but your interest income again was $218,000 more. In your expenditures, you generally budget high for your redevelopment projects. So your budget had been $2.3 million. You spent $653,000. So you actually were under in your expenses, primarily due to that of $1.7 million. So you had actually budgeted to spend some of your fund balance on projects and such, and current revenues, but you actually, instead of having a expense over revenue of $839,000, you actually had income of $249,000. So that increased your fund balance. And that is what I have to go over. I'd entertain any questions at this point.
Steve has a question.
Hi, Tony. Steve Meyer.
Hi.
Back on page 6, you're describing modified accrual basis.
Yes.
Elaborate a little bit. Is that the way we have always reported?
Yes. So I apologize. Basis. So any you budget for any cash income that you anticipate receiving, and then you also budget for any expenses. And the biggest difference there, if you had capital expense items, such as you purchased a building or something of that nature, that's a capital asset item, you, on these modified accrual basis, you're going to show that as an expense. So you're going to have that in your expenses, where on the full accrual basis, you would capitalize that as a fixed asset and depreciate it. So long answer to you is yes, pages 6 and 7 present how the agency budgets and reviews financial statements and manages your entity.
Thank you. And then on the same page, in the fund balances, the first item is assigned arts, $37,000. Can you elaborate there a little bit, please?
Yes, so the agency, footnote. So originally, or starting in, if you look at page 14 of your footnotes, note number 7 talks about your assigned fund balance. So in fiscal year 2016, the agency designated 5% of the tax assessments collected in that year to be used for the arts. And as of September 2023, the remaining amount that had been designated in that year that's remaining is that $37,000.
Tony, in one of the subsequent years after 2016, we changed that to make
the appropriation for the arts an annual event and specify that it would not be an accrual, sort of a fund. And I wonder if you all have missed that.
It was just that 1 year though. It's not like 5% of every year. It was 5% of that year in 2016. So it's not continuing to happen. Now you budget like 5,000 a year, but there's still, we've used up quite a bit of it, but there still was that 37,000 left from that.
So the 37,000 goes all the way back to 16?
Yeah, it was 5% of whatever it was back then, but we've used some of it since, because we used quite a bit of it for the benches this year, but that won't get captured till the next audit.
If that's being used each year, that's being used each year, so yes, that's correct in that, that there was an amount in that specific year that the agency designated to be used for the arts, and as you've used those money, it is reducing. And I was just looking to see if I have your 16 file here to tell you what that original amount is. I don't have it in front of me, but I can get back to you and let you know what that original amount is, and actually provide a schedule to show you the original amount plus each amount that has been used out of that amount.
That would be helpful.
Would that help?
Yes,
Yeah.
Tony.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember we looked into this last year, because this same question came up last year, and we had to go find it, and we were like, okay, that's correct. And so when they came to us this year and asked to do the benches, we still have
that's true.
X number of dollars, and so this is still coming out of that.
So maybe we should
Set aside.
show in the footnotes in subsequent years what the original was and
Yeah.
how much has been consumed.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Sure, that's very easy to do.
Thank you.
Put that information in that footnote.
Any other questions from the board? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I so move that we approve the fiscal year 2023 audit presentation by Alpine Summit.
Second.
Just a question, are we approving the audit, or are we approving a resolution?
Approving the audit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
So we have a first and second for the approval of the audit. Any other discussion? Okay, let's have a roll call vote for approval.
Rhonda Mitchell,
Yes.
Steve Meyer,
Yes.
Colin Meehan,
Yes.
Randy McIntyre,
Yes.
Matt Roder,
Yes.
Joy Richards.
Yes. Great, thank you. Next on our agenda is the declaration of surplus property. Melissa, do you want to?
Sure, I can introduce it. So this is the items inside the Owl Cafe. If you remember that we're having Auction Depot here that's local to Hayden do an auction for us, but before we do that, we need to declare this surplus personal property. And so here is the itemized list of all the items that will be in. And if you go over there, which if you want to, I'm going to go over there after this, they have each item tagged with like a number and stuff on it, and they have, they're going to put it all up on there. It's an online auction.
So did the auction people put together this long
Yes.
list? Wow.
They did this
Okay.
and provided it to me. And I've been over there. I haven't gone through every single one, but I could see that the items were all tagged and with a number.
So what doesn't sell then we would need to, this resolution will take care of the remaining, all the items in the building?
These are just the items that are gonna be in the sale.
Okay.
So what we do from that point forward, if we, hire a salvage company or something, I assume that we'll have to have a different resolution that just declares everything else surplus
Correct.
or something.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is just the stuff that's gonna be in the auction.
And the auction is going to be?
It's, that starts the 25th.
It closes on Thursday night.
The 25th to the 29th. I don't have the link to it yet, but I imagine I can tell him that we're good to go, and then he'll send
So
that to
they
me.
advertise though, correct?
Yeah.
So if anybody that's interested.
I haven't done anything with it. Basically,
done
he
it all.
handles it all.
Okay.
But I was gonna share that link on our website, just in
Okay.
case.
Good.
And so then this resolution authorizes you on all of the personal property there, so if it's not sold at auction, this gives you the authority to dispose of it in some other way without further action by us.
No.
Just the stuff that's on the list.
Just the
That's
stuff-
all
But that's what he
this
means, like if it
resolution.
doesn't sell,
Yeah, then
then we get.
we'd get rid of it, but we'd have to have another
We
resolution.
need one more
Just
resolution.
another simple resolution like this.
Okay?
Any other questions?
Is there a fee if nothing sells?
Not that I'm aware of.
Just looking through the list, there's, we'll see.
I mean, there's shelving and stuff that, stuff like that.
Something's gonna go.
Everything else is pretty old.
Yeah.
It really is, so we'll see what happens, I suppose.
Hey, there's a pegboard. Everybody needs a pegboard.
Or a whiteboard.
So do I hear a motion to do this resolution?
I move we approve dash 02.
And we have a second?
Off. I'm gonna go up there after this and check that. I have left the gas on, but we were able to turn the nozzles off to each of the appliances, so should be able to disconnect those without any issue. I have asked the city if we can pause the sewer bill now that we have no water to the, I think that their rule is that you actually have to disconnect the toilets, but I'm gonna see if they'll just pause it. It's not a huge expense, but we're still paying utilities, we're still paying sewer on a building that's just sitting there, so I'm trying to reduce our costs a little bit. I do still recommend that after this auction is complete, we consider hiring a salvage company and just kind of demolish it. It's pretty overrun with mice and stuff now, and I think it's got a big hole that I have a big bucket under in the roof that I have to go up empty. So Colin knows about it. So I mean, it's just gonna get kind of to be this worse and worse situation. So anyway, I'll just let you guys decide, but that's kind of what my recommendation would be.
We can put that on next month's,
The auction will be over by then.
the auction will be over.
Yeah,
and-
see what else to do.
Okay.
Moving on, the HURA boundary expansion. We have been working with the city and their consultant on the eligibility study. We expect there to be a resolution at our September meeting to recommend the deteriorated properties to council. So I think a draft is supposed to come to Pete here soon. I don't know if he's received it yet.
Actually, I'm preparing that
Okay.
resolution based on our meeting last week, and I'll be sending that out probably tomorrow to the city's hired legal counsel.
So we've been going back and forth. They do reach out for a little bit of assistance with the eligibility study. Why did we recommend certain areas and stuff? Because they have to go through and determine if these different areas are eligible. So we're in the loop. We've been working with them. They're trying to kind of fast track it now that it took quite a while to get to this point. Now that they're trying to get it done. Hopefully they were thinking around the first or just after the first of the year. 58 East Orchard, I did finally receive a statement of work complete and invoice, but it was the very end of last week, and it was after we'd put the financial package together. It does appear that they completed everything that we initially asked for, so I'll probably just go through that and then see, since you guys budgeted another amount for next year, see if there's anything else that we want to do on that property. We haven't put that RFQ package out to select a consultant to help us with planning for the property. Remember we had talked about that? We haven't done that yet. We did, Rhonda and I meet with the city, and we were kind of getting a game plan in place, and thought that maybe it would be good to kind of brainstorm what we're thinking with this group next meeting, and then put the RFP out maybe after that. It's technically budgeted for next fiscal year anyway, so it's not like, that was what we had discussed earlier. So we've kind of been trying to figure out
We
what
also
exactly
found
we,
some materials that we've hired consultants in the past. They're gonna review, could give us some ideas or thoughts.
right, because there are people on the HURA board that have been here. I think it was a downtown center study or something. And there were people on the HURA board that were here when that study was completed, but there are other people that weren't. And there's a lot of good information in there. So Rhonda wanted me to send that out so that you guys could review that and then just kind of figure out what exactly we want a consultant to help us with. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Melissa? Well, let's look at our adjournment. I guess our next meeting is September 9th. Mark your calendars. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
it's gotta be the shortest meeting
She
we've
broke
ever
it.
had, Rhonda.
Last time was a good read.